long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. That's Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
The NFL season could be on shaky ground with more players testing positive for the virus.
The 3-0 Tennessee Titans were scheduled to reopen their practice facility today because they had returned 100% negative COVID tests 2 days in a row. But the streak is over. 2 more Titans players have the virus. In all, 12 Titans players have tested positive since September 24th. Sunday's scheduled game versus the 4-0 Buffalo Bills, questionable. Much like the Patriots game Sunday versus the Denver Broncos. New England called off its practice today, closed its facility to non-essential personnel because Patriots star cornerback Stephon Gilmore, the NFL's reigning Defensive Player of the Year, tested positive. He joins teammate Cam Newton and a Patriots practice squad player on the team's COVID-19 list. Jared Max, Fox News.
The City Council of Greensboro, North Carolina, has approved a resolution which apologizes for the shooting of 5 demonstrators at a rally against the Ku Klux Klan and the American Nazi Party in 1979. Juries acquitted several people of killing the protesters and wounding others. A subsequent civil
After decades of searching the cosmos, today NASA announced that what it was really looking for was right here on planet Earth all along.
For years, we've foolishly chased after comets, moons, and stars. Outer space may be beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as the smile of a child, nor as sublime as a good bottle of wine shared among friends. Our search ends where it began, here on this big blue marble.
Astronomers say that while their telescopes were pointing at Mars, they never even noticed the planet that was right in front of them. NASA now plans to appreciate what they already have. The agency's latest report, entitled Wonder is Everywhere, Finding the Beauty in the Everyday, calls for further study of the little things that truly give life meaning.
Warm rain on a summer day, the smell of pine trees, touching the worn paper of your favorite book, that's what's always made us happy, not some asteroid a million miles away.
This is the Onion News Network.
For the past several years now, area woman Caitlin Mooney has been convinced that each and every one of her friends should be a professional comedian. Our reporters spoke to Caitlin this morning about her, quote, hilarious group of friends.
Karen is so funny. Like, I can't even explain it. She's always just saying whatever on her mind. She has this totally sassy attitude. You just can't help but laugh. My roommate Rashmi, she always has these hilarious stories that, they're just too much. I'm always telling her that she should just go up on stage and talk. Everyone would love it.
Mooney went on to say that her good friend Lauren is so funny she could, quote, definitely be on Saturday Night Live or The Office, a sentiment she echoed about a number of her other acquaintances, including her childhood friend Marcia, her college roommate Angela, her coworker Julie, and even her sister Jennifer.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. The only show where you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria.
It's Ian. And Richie Rich.
And man, I saw a headline today that it was so bizarre that I had to click in and read it. Well, it wasn't the headline itself that was bizarre, but the subject about it. A transgender man filed a pregnancy discrimination suit against Amazon. And I realize I've already got people calling me transphobic and that talking about this is not going to help. But I have to admit, the dissonance caused when I say the pregnant man is real. And I don't know how to address that other than saying, we should probably just strip out all of the gender pronouns and do something else, because...
Go back to just he. Just one pronoun covers it all.
That doesn't help, though, because then you have to say he is pregnant. That doesn't get rid of the dissonance here. I know, but I don't want to say it. That's the point of this. So a trans man in New Jersey is suing Amazon, claiming he was harassed and denied a promotion with the online giant after telling his boss he was pregnant. Yeah.
Well, cool. This is common also with just normal women who are pregnant, right? Like they get passed over for things because they're unreliable. They're not going to be there.
And it's hard for an employer to want that.
Right. Why would you want to promote
That's
a person?
why you pay him less.
Who's going to be gone for 9 months or whatever, 12 months. I don't know how long these things are. Or what's a typical pregnancy restriction? Is it 6 months? I don't know. It's some amount of time, and you want your workers there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sean Simmons claims he told supervisor Mike Minow about his pregnancy in June of 2019. But I know, right? Minow then told another supervisor, Tyler Helpt, and word spread throughout the Princeton Fulfillment Center, according to a federal lawsuit which was filed Monday. I mean, that's not unusual. Pregnancy news generally does spread at
around
work.
the workplace.
Company gossip in general.
Simmons said he was soon harassed by other employees at the warehouse, including in the men's bathroom, where one worker asked, "Aren't you pregnant?"
Hey, you wanted to come into the men's bathroom, right?
Right.
So
how is asking if he's pregnant like harassment though?
Yeah,
right?
that's
like
it's not harassment at all.
If word has spread, right, and he's already made it public knowledge, at least within the workplace, confirming that at the source seems like the best way to get that information.
If you're spending some time with coworkers in a bathroom over time, there may be a little bit of joshing that's going on. There may be a little bit of fun poking, a little bit of trash talking. I mean, that's sometimes guys do that, right?
Well, this is also Amazon, so you don't get a lot of time in the bathroom.
That's true.
You got to piss in the bottle,
That's
and then
right.
you got to be gone.
Yeah.
And for all we know, I mean, we don't have any context around this statement. It could be like, "Hey, aren't you pregnant?"
Right.
Congratulations. I mean, they don't say that, but that could.
It's how you read the quote.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the context of that, but it could have been. Minow and Haupt also allegedly began criticizing Simmons' work performance in an attempt to get him demoted. After complaining to Human Resources, Simmons was placed on paid leave, according to the suit. So, I mean, well, that's you never want to go to complain to HR, no matter what the situation is, because you're going to end up. At least they got paid leave, though.
That seems dirty in general, unless his performance was actually lacking or insufficient.
Yeah.
Right. To get someone who is pregnant fired just because they're pregnant seems a little.
Was this happening right after he got pregnant, or was it happening?
It doesn't specify.
Yeah.
Or like third trimester. Like, no, I can't lift those boxes anymore.
When he returned from leave, Simmons says he was demoted to item picker, which required him to lift large bags of dog food and other heavy items.
There you go.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that while you're pregnant, right?
Yeah. Simmons told Human Resources lifting such weight in his condition was causing abdominal pain. He was placed on paid leave again in July and told to furnish a doctor's note for any pregnancy-related accommodations. I got to be honest, so far, none of this really sounds bad.
Paid leave?
Yeah, you got paid leave, you're pregnant. That seems to make sense to me.
Okay.
And,
especially if it's a medical condition where you couldn't do the job you're hired to do.
Right, and pregnancy would be a medical condition.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So then they came back and they gave him another
It's a self-induced one, though, so it's not like this thing that just comes on as some sort of disease you catch.
That's fair.
Don't spread your legs. It's probably not going to happen.
All right.
He claims he provided the required documentation but was denied an accommodation. Amazon has a policy and practice of discriminating against individuals because of their disability and or pregnancy.
Well, he was given the accommodation. He got paid leave. That's the accommodation. You don't have to do the job. We're going to pay you
temporarily,
anyway.
right? Like it wasn't like he could just stay out for 6 months. That's is that what he wants? Is to stay out for like some amount of pregnancy time off?
It doesn't specify, but I imagine it was okay. Well, we're going to give you a week off. Use that week to get a doctor's note about any accommodations you need.
Okay,
it sounds like that's sort of what happened.
But then he got the doctor's note, and that didn't.
It said they decided to. They denied him the accommodations that he was requesting.
Which is to say, not be a picker anymore. Because they put him in the picker. They put him in the picker status for some reason because of the downgrade. And then he said, I don't want to be this picker. I got to lift stuff. And then they denied him some other task.
Presumably, but we don't know anything about this employee's actual job performance.
Mm-hmm. We don't.
So.
Well, but if you have to lift 50-pound bags of dog food while you're pregnant, right? That's obviously not the job for you.
Right. Yeah. So last May, a CNET investigation found at least 7 lawsuits filed by women in California, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey claiming they were fired by Amazon after disclosing their pregnancy. Simmons also alleges an offer of a promotion at another warehouse away
That doesn't mean, though, that they were fired because they were pregnant.
Correct.
It may simply be that they were terrible at their job, or they fell into the bottom 10% or something like that of the worst employees, and they just got culled.
Yeah.
Because I bet you could also, I'm just going to say, I bet you could also find some women who are pregnant and didn't get fired from Amazon, right? So they're just looking for the cases of women who were fired from Amazon after they got pregnant. Can you find women who were kept on at Amazon
I have no doubt that we can.
Yeah. I suspect Amazon will present them at trial.
I suspect. So Simmons is claiming harassment based on gender and on pregnancy under New Jersey's law against discrimination. He is
it's Jersey. He probably has a chance.
Yeah. He is also alleging pregnancy discrimination, failure to accommodate, and workplace retaliation. In addition to Amazon, Simmons has named Minnow and Haupt in his suit, which seeks reinstatement of his job with back pay, as well as legal fees.
I always get a kick out of people who hate working at a place and want their job back there.
Yes, and back pay for all of the work that he didn't
do. That's
do.
probably the more important thing. You get reinstated with back pay, and then you quit, and then walk. Yeah.
You think that's what they're going to do?
That's what I would do.
There's a good chance of it.
Okay.
Because if you don't want to be there and they don't want you there, there's no reason to be there.
Sure.
But if you can get paid for the time that you didn't do anything.
And your attorney's fees?
Sure. Right. So you have to stick it out to get all of that, and then you can walk later.
He also wants restoration of lost benefits and punitive damages. The case was originally filed in Mercer County Superior Court, but has moved to the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey in Trenton on Monday after a request from Amazon's lawyers. Greg Nevins, senior counsel for Lambda Legal and director of its Employment Fairness Project, says it's not clear why the case was moved to federal court since Simmons did not invoke Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. But he said federal courts are not the most hospitable places for plaintiffs when it comes to workplace discrimination. He is, however, proud to be advocating in this case, and they look forward to the litigation process and putting before the jury. I just don't see it.
So he's standing up for all trans rights then in federal court.
I mean, that's how he's going to paint it, right? But he's an attorney. I mean, he's going to do what he wants.
Hold on. The worker's an attorney, or there's an attorney the worker hired?
Greg Nevins is the attorney the worker hired.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And it's going to a federal court in New Jersey for whatever reason, despite not being, part of.
It's getting some extra attention because of the trans aspect, but this is the same old story that's been, written a million times of a woman gets pregnant at a workplace and then things change for her, and she didn't like that. And now is going to sue as a result of that because people who get pregnant think that they deserve the exact same treatment as what they had before, or even better treatment in this case. Oh, well, I don't like my current job. I want this other job over here. Now I'm pregnant. You should give it to me. Well, wait a minute. We didn't hire you when you were pregnant. You've now changed your abilities in the midst of this task.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's unrealistic, or I don't think it's wrong necessarily to for somebody who's in a position of the employer to make changes.
Well, it obviously can't be wrong, like if you hired this person specifically to do heavy lifting, say that's all your company does, and then this person is pregnant.
Now they want to work.
Why continue paying them?
Yeah, now they want to get a job in the office? No, they don't have an opening.
What do you think? Are we out of place here? 855-450-3733. One more time, that's 855-450-FREE, as in free money and keeping your job, but not actually having to do anything.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Document leak shows trillions of dollars of illegal activity by major banks. Alibaba files more blockchain patents than any other company in 2020. MicroStrategies, a publicly traded company, bought $175 million worth of Bitcoin last week. As little as 2/3 of Bitcoins will ever circulate. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight is Arya, Rich E, and Ian. And, you know, I have to admit, I don't get very stressed out about, well, pretty much, it takes a lot to really stress me out. So I don't understand these people who are, like, stressed out about this election.
Because it's the most important election of their lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, they've probably, you know, drank the Kool-Aid on that part, but they said that 4 years ago as well.
Every time.
Yeah,
we've never had a year like 2020 before.
It's unprecedented.
Yes, exactly.
That's true of 2019 as well. We never had a year like 2019. Life is going to go on. Everything is going to be more or less okay.
That's what these people don't understand. They've not taken that lesson in life.
Okay. Well,
COVID hit pretty hard for a lot of people across the board.
No, it didn't.
No, the government hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Right. Fine. Fair. But that environment is pretty well unprecedented in most people's lifetimes. Right. When was the last time that the government shut down economies across states, across borders?
Oh, that is true. That, as far as our lifetimes are concerned, this is definitely new territory.
Right.
And it's a bad precedent.
Understood. But that makes 2020 different than 2019 in a significant way.
True.
And with both candidates being diametrically opposed on the response to COVID-19.
But not really.
Well.
No, Trump just likes appealing to his Republican base.
Yeah. Fair.
I mean, in the Trump posted a couple of videos, I think it was 2 days ago, when he was announcing that he was getting out of the hospital after COVID. One of them was like, patriotic music's playing and the helicopter's flying in, and then Trump gets off the helicopter and he's looking good and he's walking and, he's got a mask on through almost the entire video. And then he goes up onto the White House steps,
which is responsible because he did literally have COVID, so he probably should have been wearing a mask.
And then he has the mask off toward the end of the video.
Of course.
So like Trump's trying to play both sides, it seems like.
Right, but I know the debate
state.
was a futile effort in enjoyment. But if you listen to what he said during the debate, Trump was like, "We need to open the economy, and people know how to handle themselves with COVID." Right? You wear the mask, you wash your hands, you social distance, and Biden on the other hand.
I mean, I'll wash my hands, but I'm not going to wear a mask or social distance.
Fine.
I like being social.
But he was taking, his position was more that people know how to be responsible with COVID now, so there's no reason to shut down the economy. And Biden, on the other hand,
I understand what his position is.
Right.
Well, that's what he says his position is.
But his CDC is still going around making all kinds of so-called guidelines / recommendations that are being adopted left and right by various different state governors. And ultimately, it's because of the federal government, number one, is why things are the way they are.
Right. But Biden, on the other hand, if you elect Biden, it's total shutdown until we knock this thing, and then we can begin the rebuilding process.
Maybe.
Those were the claims made in the debate. You can disbelieve them if you wish.
I don't know if Biden can tell the state governors what to do about that.
Just like Cuties, I did not watch the debate.
Okay.
But I don't mind talking about either. Rich, you said you've seen Cuties, right?
I am not afraid to watch things that I'm not supposed to watch.
It's not about being afraid. It's that I don't care to.
It's not about being afraid for me either. It's like I only have so much time. I haven't watched a movie in probably 3 months. I've had a Netflix movie sitting up there on Blu-ray that I just have not even touched.
Wait, you still get your Netflix mailed to you?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they still did that until recently.
Yeah, I'm like a once every 3 monther. They must love me, man. I'm paying $10 a month to sit on a DVD or Blu-ray for 3 months before I watch it. So really, the question is seeing this movie more important to me than watching the movie that's been sitting there for 3 months that I haven't watched? No. From everything I've heard, it doesn't sound very good. It doesn't sound interesting.
No, but I had to watch it.
So you're agreeing it wasn't very good.
I didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
more
not,
reason to not.
It's
spend
not
any
my
reason
kind
not
of
to.
movie. If it didn't get all the hype behind it that it did, I probably would have skipped it.
Yeah, I mean, you were even debating recently online whether or not to watch the pandemic special from South Park. You were asking for people's input on.
Yeah, because I love South Park, right? But at the same time,
but you're so busy.
Setting out an hour of my time right now to watch the South Park episode is just not feasible.
Right, so something you would want to watch, you were even wondering, should I spend time on this? Yeah. And I did watch that. I watched the South Park pandemic special, and it was pretty entertaining.
So were Conan and I right about what we expected it to be, if you recall?
What were you expecting?
I don't remember. Let's see. Cartman was going to be the one not taking it seriously. Cal was obviously going to be taken seriously. We expected it to open with the kids in like bubbles and maths.
Almost.
Yeah,
almost. You're pretty close. It was pretty entertaining. You could tell that they were, and as South Park tends to do, is they try to make fun of both sides, right?
Sure.
So they were definitely doing some of that, but there were certainly some subtle nods to suggest that maybe the editorial perspective was on our side, but it wasn't like
they are
you
libertarians.
They are, but it wasn't like knock you over the head, anti-mask or anything like that.
Okay.
It was entertaining.
I wouldn't have expected it to be anti-mask, no. Even if that's what they, the creators actually believe, it would have been, suicide for the show.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to get it on the air, I suspect, if they'd been more explicit. So it was more subtle strikes, so it was entertaining.
So when we're not stressing ourselves out with not watching television, just keeping ourselves busy, other people are stressing themselves out.
Oh my God, what's going to happen in the election?
By flipping out about this thing that honestly has no real bearing on
honestly,
their lives.
They have no control over. Yes. I mean, really, it's not to say that it has no bearing. I mean, as Richie's arguing here, there may be some semblance of a difference between the candidates, but ultimately, the government's going to get more oppressive. It's going to get more restrictive. It's just the question is in which ways and how quickly.
And my point is that COVID is clearly the biggest issue for most people in their everyday lives.
For this time, yeah.
Right. And on those particular issues,
they're told it's the biggest issue, and they believe the propaganda.
That's fair, but that still holds true that that's the issue that they're looking at.
That's the reason they're losing their jobs. That's the reason their businesses are closing. It's the government crackdown on COVID.
And I'll accept
on
that.
Us, actually.
They're
not cracking down on COVID. They're cracking down on people.
The government responds to the COVID quote-unquote pandemic, right? I'll allow all that phrasing, but it's important to a lot of people. And again, when you hear what the candidates are saying, it's a vastly different perspective. So those that want this to be over with and done are clearly going to be pulling for Trump, who's saying, like, let's just open it up and be done with it. And the people who are still scared, stuck at home, wanting everyone else who is free out there getting stuff done to sit back in their homes for another 2 weeks, quote unquote, to let the pandemic pass before we can begin the rebuilding phase, those are going to be your Biden supporters.
Why would anyone who wants to reopen actually support Donald Trump, though?
Because they don't know what else to do.
Because his rhetoric is reopen the economy and then take precautions.
And
they don't know about Joe Jorgensen.
And there are still people who believe the lies that politicians tell.
Oh, God, yes.
They're called voters.
Every time. There's those people, they still exist. I don't know why they keep getting fooled time and time again. But then again, look at all the people that put masks on. I mean, so it's like people are easily fooled. They'll believe anything an authoritarian says to them.
Not only are they easily fooled, they're easily freaked out. Evidently, election stress disorder is a new thing.
It is. According to CBS Philadelphia, a new round of election stress disorder is spreading across the U.S., according to experts. They say the tension's even worse this time because of the coronavirus pandemic.
See?
Stress levels have been sky high for months now. We've been dealing with the coronavirus since March, and tensions have escalated in the last few weeks before the election. Marsha Palanchi says she's been feeling election anxiety. I'll tell you what she has to say coming up.
Are you stressed about the election? Are you like the other people? Do you really think it matters what letter is next to your ruler's name? Let us know. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Aria, Ian, and Rich E. And you've heard us talk about Divi here on Free Talk Live. And maybe you wanted to set up one of their easy-to-deploy masternodes or stake Divi so that you can start earning Divi right now. Well, Ian here says that setting up a Divi masternode was extremely easy and staking was even easier.
Yeah, I did it. No problem.
We're not investment advisors here, but we think you'll be impressed with your earning potential with Divi as compared to traditional investment vehicles. Go to diviproject.org and get started. You can buy Divi at several exchanges or directly from the Divi team. Need help? Well, there is a link to their Telegram channel right on the front page at diviproject.org, diviproject.org. Now, people are stressed. Presumably, they're not doing enough shrooms. And this is causing them untold amounts of stress as they watch Orange Man and senile old child molester argue back and forth on stage. And for whatever reason, instead of finding humor in this, they're finding stress.
Yeah, they're calling it a stress disorder, election stress disorder, according to Philadelphia CBS. They interviewed a woman, Marsha Palanchi. She says she's been feeling the election anxiety, saying, quote, I was keeping pretty zen about the whole situation.
No, she wasn't.
Until I watched the debates, and then that went out the window, and I've been incredibly stressed.
What was it about the debate that could have triggered this? I mean, I watched the
fact
debates
that you finally saw it. Right?
I've been pretty zen. Well, I watched part of the debates, you know, and I've been pretty zen about this whole election thing. And I've seen parts of the debates, and I was like, yep.
And
it's
you're
exactly
running in
it's exactly as stupid as I expected it to be.
If anybody's got a reason to be stressed, it's you. You're a candidate in the 2020 elections for sheriff here in Cheshire County.
Yeah, but it's
and
fun,
you got
not
people
stressful.
attacking your house and slashing your tires, but you know you've been taking it easy, which is the way to do it.
Absolutely. If you're not having fun, you shouldn't do it.
That's right. Therapist Dr. Steven Stosny said, I've been getting a lot of emergency calls of resentment or anger. Can you imagine calling? It's an emergency, doctor.
I can't believe what Trump said.
Stosny says stress over the election is causing many Americans to fight with their spouses, friends, and coworkers. It could also be because you're forced to be in your house with your spouse constantly. That may be a factor causing
Well, why
some
would you
extra stress.
marry someone who you wouldn't want to be trapped in your house for 6 months with?
I agree with you. But yet, that's the reality for a lot of people.
This is why you shouldn't get married anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to spend 6 months of your life trapped in your house with someone, don't get married.
So I'll just interject real quick. I am married, not legally, but you know, I call her my wife. We got married before we moved in with each other, so that was a whole new experience after the fact.
That is unusual.
Like we were married for I think over 2 years, and then we only started living together when we made the move to New Hampshire.
Oh wow! All right, it's working out.
Still married.
Sweet.
All right. Whatever works, man.
I'm kind of the opposite way. I mean, I'll basically move in with a girl right away and see if we can get along. See how that works out.
I've done that too.
Yeah. So Stosny says the stress is causing Americans to fight. During the 2016 election, he coined a term for it. So this is the guy, Dr. Steven Stosny. Election stress disorder. And he says this year the anxiety is even worse. Quote,
also just called psychosis and lacking perspective. There is nothing about this farce that is the 2020 election that should cause anyone any amount of stress.
No, it's just
Please
another one.
turn off your freaking television.
That's the important part.
Take a walk.
That's why she got stressed after she watched the debate, because presumably before that, wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, you start paying attention, you realize how messed up it is.
Oh, it's messed up. It's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
No doubt. Stosny said, quote, anxiety makes you feel powerless, and resentment and anger makes you feel temporarily more empowered, he said. He says, we often turn that resentment and anger on the people closest to us. One person said, quote, the election is only a month away, so it's only going to get more and more and more intense.
Turn off your television.
Stosny says you can reduce anxiety with exercise, writing your feelings down, or do what Palanchi does, avoid social media and resist the urge to argue with others. Now, that's not a bad idea.
That's what social media is for.
Right.
It's a good first step, but I have to clarify. If you're going to turn off your television, you have to go ahead and close out of Facebook and Twitter and all of those as well, because otherwise you're just going to. This is what the news is going to be for the next 3 weeks, right? It's going to be this garbage. Get off of social media as well.
Well, and there are a lot of people who
say something really offensive so that Facebook bans you for 30 days so that you have to be off of social media.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who, they don't want to pay attention to what's going on because it is, for them, it's a stressful thing. They don't want to have to learn which side is which, and then when they find out which side they're on, then they don't like the other side. And you can't blame somebody for wanting to avoid that entirely, and that's, I think, the way most people are. I mean, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, right?
I can't remember.
Or burn down the kitchen and get rid of the state.
Oh, yeah. Can we do that?
I can't remember what election cycle it was, but I don't have, well, I do now, but I didn't at the time have cable TV, so I didn't watch anything. And I definitely didn't watch commercials, so I didn't see political ads. Mm-hmm. And I was just shocked when I finally was at my grandparents' house and they had the TV on and all the political ads started rolling in.
And what was shocking about it?
Well, the fact that I could not tell the difference between the Republican ad and the Democrat ad, number one. And just the nonsense that,
The Republicans are red, the Democrats are blue. But back in the day, it used to be reversed, didn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't pay attention. But I was, so I see this, I go, wow, I am so glad that I'm not that I'm not seeing this, because this seems like a whole bunch of BS that I'm better off without seeing.
So you can't blame people like that. But.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting color psychology with the Republicans being red, though, and the Democrats being blue. Like red is the power color, blue is sort of the chill color.
Red's also the communist color.
Go
sure. Yeah. I mean, that's all there is. They're the red team.
The American flag is red, white, and blue.
That's true.
That was all I had to say. It's fascinating.
Okay. All of it needs to go away. And unfortunately, we're nowhere near having that happen. Because
yellow, though, is the worst choice to libertarian, or gold. It is the worst choice they could have made. I mean, that more than anything cemented their place as a third party.
You think so?
Okay.
You think it had to do with the color?
Yes, 100%. I mean, humans are very simple creatures, right?
They are.
So what color?
Red is the color. They should have just picked red or blue.
Yellow's the cowardly color.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, let's take
the Green
Pokemon
Party's
Go.
not going anywhere.
No, let's take Pokemon Go, for example.
Well, yeah, what do you have to say to the Green Party objection?
Well, they obviously picked the wrong color, too.
So it's only red or blue?
Pretty much.
Okay. Is that like a male-female dynamic where
there's probably part of that into it, but I mean, just consider any online game you've ever played. Your options are red team or blue team. That's not accidental.
Okay.
That's rooted in human psychology. You throw in a third team, it's got the fewest number of players, it's got the fewest number of wins, and it's always the color yellow.
Okay.
It's always and there's also this other team you can play as. Every single time. The worst color they could possibly have picked.
But there's no other color more dominant than red or blue that we could then migrate to unseat the Democrats and the Republicans.
Correct.
Okay.
Black, maybe? I don't know. Black would be worth trying.
Okay.
I mean, my signs are black, so I don't
They look great.
They do.
But didn't you put yellow on there?
There is a gold star on there.
Well, that's because most police badges are gold.
I understand.
Yeah.
I got no objection. I don't think that's really as big of a deal as you're making it out to be, really. I mean, most people don't even know the libertarians exist, let alone have any idea what their favorite color is.
And you can see Ian's yellow shirt on the cam, so there's that too.
I don't have any issue with the color yellow. I'm just saying, if it comes time to pick team colors, don't pick yellow. Pick red or blue.
Okay.
But gold is a different color than yellow, is it not?
It's a different shade.
Yeah.
It's harder to find things that
aren't
call
gold.
themselves gold.
Yeah.
Like I bought a gold beanie and it looks orange.
Okay.
Right. If I'm gonna represent like the black and gold colors, most of the time it's going to be black and yellow.
That's true, because gold has a certain aura to it that is hard to reproduce, right?
Especially on fabric. It doesn't come out right. It's not shiny.
So what does it take here to get this election stress disorder? According to CBSNews.com, do you have it? Well, according to the same doctor, he says, this is Dr. Stephen Stosny, you know you have election stress disorder if you feel your body tense before you turn on the news. That's your body preparing you for a saber-toothed tiger with lots of cortisol. So now he's likening watching the news to encountering a saber-toothed tiger.
Or that's your body telling you not to turn on the freaking news in the first place. It's definitely one of the two. Yeah, I mean, that's your body saying, hey, this is a negative experience. Let's avoid this. And you're just going, I'm just going to ignore my body here and watch this idiot box. This is Free Talk Live.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. The only show where you can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria, Ian, and Rich E. Rich. And we're talking about election stress disorder, which is this quote, disorder that happens when people forget how to turn off the television and disconnect from social media, and they exist perpetually in a state of anxiety because they don't know how to properly identify the things that are causing them stress. So say, oh God, the election is stressing me out, but it's not. Your own actions are causing you to be stressed out because you're fixating, you're obsessing over this thing that honestly probably isn't going to affect your life to any significant degree. But evidently, the psychologist who coined the term is getting emergency calls from people who are freaking out. And it's a sad world we live in when people are this worked up about politics. I mean, it's destroying families. It's destroying marriages.
Well, yeah, and that is one of the downsides to it, right? Like, and the lady that they were interviewing later in the piece does refer to the idea that she tries to avoid these discussions with people because she doesn't want to lose her friends over it. So I think that is something that people could legitimately be concerned over is, well, they have developed some sort of an opinion about politics since they're paying attention to it. And yet if they express that opinion to the people that they care about, they're worried that those people will then turn them away. And that's a realistic concern.
Talk about something else.
Well, yeah, that's what they do.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of political positions that a lot of my friends don't want to hear. And I know that if I talk about it, it will just lead to an argument. So I don't talk about those things. There are plenty of other things for us to talk about. I don't want to talk about politics with friends in the first place.
I have told friends that. Like, the reason we're friends is because there's certain things that we don't talk about. Because if we started talking about it, we couldn't be friends anymore.
Well, let's go to the phones. We got Anthony, who was just with us here. Anthony, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, man, I'm having a little bit of election stress, man. I don't know how to handle myself.
Turn off the TV.
It's crazy.
Well, put yourself down and you'll be fine.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, Jesus. You know what? Here's my election stress.
Yeah.
My election stress is the fact that Joe Jorgensen is being left off the debate stage, and nobody in the mainstream, in the lamestream media has a word to say about it. And I'm thinking that, people ought to push the sexism that the Republicans and the Democrats are showing by refusing to let the lady speak. That's just my opinion.
Well, because the lady's speaking tonight. Kamala Harris gets to take the stage tonight.
No, I ain't talking about that lady. I'm talking about Joe Jorgensen.
Well, yeah. But we know what you're talking about, but the point is that's what the media would say. Well, it's not like we're ignoring the women. Kamala Harris.
There you go.
No one, very, very few people are going to pay any attention whatsoever to the vice presidential debate.
As they should. I mean, why would you want to watch that thing? It sounds like it would be off. It's just absolutely awful. I mean, the potential entertainment value of that is like zero.
Yes.
Well, who cares about the vice presidential debate?
Right.
You don't elect a vice president. You elect a president. Nobody cares who the running mate is. Very few.
True fact.
If you're on the Biden campaign team, though, you might. Because who knows, man?
Well, I think we should care. I mean, Pence has proven to be really good assassination insurance for Donald Trump because no matter how angry the Democrats are, they know that Pence is worse.
Sure.
And if they remove Trump from office by impeaching him and being successful in that, then they just end up with Pence.
Yeah, and on the other side, you already have them saying it's the Harris-Biden campaign.
Say what there, Anthony?
I say, well, he did screw up Indiana, and nobody wants that to happen on a national level, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad about Joe Jorgensen, but I mean, that's kind of what you expect.
Blame the libertarians for that one.
The libertarians will be... Well, no, you can't really blame the libertarians. You can blame the mainstream media. You can blame what do they call it? The Commission on Presidential Debates. They're the ones that set the rules. And if the mainstream media wanted to have a third party, they could.
I do blame the libertarians for last year. I blame the libertarians for last year for that idiot down in Orlando that decided to strip stark naked and do whatever he did.
I think that was like 2016.
Yeah, the last election cycle.
Yeah, and that was James Weeks. He's a really good friend of mine, and I 100% support what he did. I mean,
yeah, I love that. It was hilarious.
What we were witnessing that year was a takeover by hostile Republicans represented by Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, and his stripping said, okay, you want to bring in this Republican money? This is what they're buying.
Anthony?
Uh-oh. We might have lost him. He was on the road, so probably lost the cell phone
Dead
signal.
zone.
That's
well,
New
Anthony,
Hampshire.
thank you so much for the call, though.
Yeah, it's New
But
Hampshire.
yeah, I
for you.
support what James Weeks did. I mean, if they
Me too. I thought it was great.
I would have joined him if I had been there.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been awesome? It would have kind of ruined the dance, though, because the song he was stripping to was something about sex with a bearded man.
Well, we would have presumably picked a different song. We actually did plan to do it in 2018.
But that was, he's big bearded guy, so like the whole point was it was kind of his.
He's not big anymore. He's down to
really,
yeah, he's
Slimmed
down to
down.
under 200.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
He's had 4 years.
Yeah, true.
Should do another strip tease.
Why
I don't
not?
know, man. I loved it because that's what it was all about.
It was the only thing worth talking about during the convention. I mean, these conventions are just so boring and so awful. I can't understand why anyone would want to go to one of these things.
Didn't you watch the online one?
No, only checked into it on occasion just because I wanted to see how much of an S show it would be.
like we did with the debates. Okay.
Yeah, except I knew it was going to be an S show, and it actually did turn out to be one, unlike the debate, which was like kind of disappointing in that way. But I just wanted to see how bad it was going to be because I know it's pretty dramatic and awful in person. And given that now the libertarians could hide behind their computer screens for the most part
Where they're comfortable.
and behave as badly as they could, yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Let me say this. Well, the reason I said blame the libertarians is because whereas they're trying to be a respectable third party, right? They had the opportunity in Vermin Supreme to just troll the hell out of this entire election cycle,
and they squandered it.
Like, imagine.
Dude, can you imagine? It could have been so great. Vermin Supreme as the Libertarian presidential candidate and me as the sheriff candidate here.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I got sent something. Vincent sent me a graphic today. It was like a screenshot from John McAfee having an interaction with the Libertarian Party account on Twitter. McAfee tweets, "The fact that Joe Jorgensen hasn't said anything about my arrest should tell you everything you need to know." Libertarian Party responds, "Can't do the time, don't do the crime."
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
That's what I thought. So
taxation is theft, Libertarian Party.
Guess what John McAfee said back? He said, quote, "Don't evade taxes because despite screeching taxation is theft into everyone's ears, we don't actually care if you get arrested for it." Unquote.
I'm on McAfee's side on this one.
Yeah. What a
I'm
disappointment.
generally on McAfee's side. He's nuts, but I'm on his side.
He's a little scammy, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there
he's
is that.
entertaining as hell. As far as entertainment value, John McAfee's a 10. But he would have been a much better candidate than Joe Jorgensen, and Vermin Supreme better, I think, than the both of them. But I mean, this comment from the Libertarian Party, just tax shaming essentially John McAfee. I mean, telling him that he should go to prison for this it's shocking. And I mean, the Libertarian Party is a shadow of its former self, and it's an embarrassment.
But that's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, yeah. This shows you how far down the barrel that they are scraping at this point. It's pathetic, honestly. Joe Jorgensen.
That's why I ran as a Republican.
Well, you ran as a Republican
So
because
much higher up the barrel.
It was convenient.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if it was more convenient to run as a Democrat, you should have run as a Democrat. But in this case,
That would have been very inconvenient.
Yeah.
Well, and part of that again is libertarians trying to be,
they're pandering.
Yes.
It's shameful because the Libertarian Party that I joined in the late 1990s, around year 2000, was principled. At least that's the way I believed at the time. I'm sure there were some people who could nitpick them back then.
Right.
But then I watched them get slowly over time just become less and less principled and more vocally anti-principle, and it was really disappointing. And then they put in Bob Barr in 2008, and I actually resigned from the party right before that happened. And then
Bob Barr was a drug warrior, right?
He sure was. He was actually, I believe, the head of the CIA at one point, and they put him as their presidential candidate.
This was after the Portland massacre, right? Yeah, because that was 2006. That was when the Dallas Accord, the agreement between the ANCAPs and the Big L libertarians, was just sort of thrown out. They were like, no, we're not the party of anarchists anymore. Go somewhere else.
Well, it had always been a fight within the libertarians from all the way from the very beginning of
Sure, that's why the Dallas
formation of
Accords
party.
happened.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
Me neither.
It was an agreement made in Dallas that, hey, we're not going to take a position about whether or not government is necessary. We're just going to fight for freedom at this time.
Okay.
And then in 2006, they were like, no, we're taking a stand here. Government is necessary.
Yeah. Now they're trashing John McAfee on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, and where we disagree, Ian,
For
is
tax evasion.
If you're trying to win, right, and you're trying to be like a legit third party, the way to get there is to pander.
I disagree.
Okay.
It's clearly not working out for the Libertarian Party either.
Yep, hasn't worked.
I mean, Gary Johnson's a
neither is
great
being
example
principled.
of someone who pandered. 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE, as in free of principle.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture. One that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The undercard ready to face off. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The candidates for vice president will go head-to-head in about 2 hours. Mike Pence and Kamala Harris will debate under strict COVID-19 guidelines at the University of Utah, including having plexiglass between them. As a new Fox News poll shows Democrat Joe Biden gaining ground on President Trump.
The poll shows Biden now with a 10-point lead over the president, 53 to 43%. A specific opinion of voters signals this is an important choice. 7 in 10 say they feel America's democracy is in danger. Respondents also say the two top issues are the economy and coronavirus. Biden leads by nearly 40 points, with those who say COVID-19 is the biggest issue. Those who favor the economy favor the president by 12 points.
Fox's Colonel Scott. President Trump putting out a video on Twitter a short time ago thanking the doctors and staff at Walter Reed Medical Center.
I spent 4 days there, and I went in, I wasn't feeling so hot, and within a very short period of time, they gave me Regeneron. It's called Regeneron, and other things too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron, and it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I felt as good 3 days ago as I do now.
And the president saying a similar drug from Eli Lilly is coming out, and he's working to get them approved on an emergency basis. Louisiana residents urged to keep an eye on the forecast as Hurricane Delta approaches. The storm has already slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, and forecasters say most of Louisiana is in its path.
What I'm trying to impart to the people of Louisiana is that by the end of the day, Thursday, you need to be where you intend to be.
Governor John Bel Edwards. Wall Street, the Dow gained 530 points, the Nasdaq plus 210, the S&P added 58. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to DIY, need design help, or prefer measure and install services, they do it all with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. If you're unsure, know that Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you.
Right now, shop Blinds.com's annual Friends and Family Sale right from home with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. You'll save up to 40% on everything through October 13th. Blinds, shades, interior shutters, and more. Plus, pay over 24 months at 0% APR on qualifying purchases with PayPal Credit Easy Payments. Ends January 31st, 2021. As of September 1st, 2020, new PayPal credit accounts have a variable purchase APR of 23.99% that will vary with the market based on the prime rate. Minimum interest charge is $2, subject to credit approval. Visit Blinds.com/PayPal. Other rules and restrictions may apply.
The nation's top infectious disease expert says political polarization in America has become a roadblock in fighting COVID-19.
Speaking at an online forum with American University, Dr. Anthony Fauci says the latest models show the U.S. death toll could reach as high as 400,000 if people continue to ignore common sense safety guidelines such as wearing masks and social distancing going into the winter months, when people will be spending more time indoors and gathering for the holidays. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
An upstate New York man has pled not guilty to criminally negligent homicide after police say he shoved an 80-year-old man who fell and hit his head over a dispute about wearing a mask. Police say 80-year-old Rocco Sapienza confronted 65-year-old Donald Lewinsky at the bar in West Seneca for not wearing a face covering, and Lewinsky shoved him. Sapienza fell to the floor and was knocked unconscious. He died of his injuries October 1st. An investigation in Russia.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
It's the Onion Radio News. An area man doesn't know what to do with all the extra ketchup packets. This is Doyle Redland reporting. After finishing his Big Bacon Classic combo, Erie, Pennsylvania resident and Wendy's patron Don Turnby, 38, expressed uncertainty today regarding what to do with all the extra ketchup packets. Turnby had asked for extra ketchup upon placing his order for a ketchup-necessitating Biggie fries.
Well, I knew it was too many ketchups because I usually only need 3 or 4 for my Biggie fries, but I just took them anyway.
At his nearby home, the Turnby pantry is crammed with hundreds of other restaurant condiments, including single-serving packets of Taco Bell mild sauce, Arby's horsey sauce, soy sauce, McDonald's Chicken McNuggets hot mustard sauce, pats of shed spread country crock from Ponderosa Steakhouse, and a selection of Smucker's jellies and jams from several area diners. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. That toll-free number is 855-450-3733. With you in the studio, it's Aria.
It's Ian.
And Richie Rich.
And we're talking about election stress disorder and these people who are just completely and totally out of touch with reality, totally stressed out by the election, the possibility that we might have another 4 years of Trump, or presumably, I can't imagine, I got to be honest, when you say election stress disorder, I immediately assume that these people are Democrats.
I would assume that as well, yeah.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say, but that is my assumption. If you are a Republican experiencing election stress disorder, please let me know. Or, if you're a Democrat experiencing it, also let me know, because I'm pretty sure Republicans aren't stressed out about it. I mean, they are probably concerned about it, but to the point of calling their therapist to say they're having an emergency.
But can a person with a serious election stress disorder actually pick up a phone without like shaking it so much to where they can dial the numbers, and can they keep their voice straight enough to actually talk to us? Like, how bad is this? Like, what?
This would probably be a good place to vent, right? We'll let you say just about anything.
Yeah, but we'll also challenge you on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
look at all the people we have venting, almost, actually we do have some calls, but
we do. We have Dave from Saipan who is joining us. Dave,
Wow,
you're on Free Talk Live.
Good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, we got a power outage here, so feel free to talk during lunchtime, during my work day.
Well, apparently it's not affecting the phone network, so that's good. Are you on a cell phone?
Yeah, I'm on a cell phone.
Nice.
So that's no big deal. We get power outages once in a while. But
isn't it true that
Saipan
Saipan power station is just run off of fuel? Like, there's not like
yeah, it's a diesel. It's a diesel plant. Actually, we've got 2 diesel plants, and the crazy thing is, my dad helped build it when he was in the Seabees back in the 60s.
Nice.
It's an old power plant.
Is that how they do it in Hawaii, or do they have some other form of generating power there?
I really don't know.
You don't know? You lived there your whole life until now?
I flick on the light switch and the light comes on, man.
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
But we've got 2 power plants, a big one and a small one, and we do a lot of work. We do a lot of work there, actually. One of my clients.
Is the power? I know this isn't why you called, but is the power system there state run? Is it like a state administered company, or is it a monopoly company that the state gives control over the island?
It's a monopoly company that the state gives control to, and then the government doesn't pay its power bills, so they spread that cost onto the consumers. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it sounds like it's working very well.
What's the per kilowatt hour cost offhand? Do you know?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me.
I'm just curious if it's worse than New Hampshire, because New Hampshire is one of the worst.
No, it's the worst in it's the worst in the country. It's one of the few. It's one of the few negatives about Saipan and the CNMI in general is that we do have some terrible utility costs. But I would say it's offset by a lot of things. Like you can get a 2-bedroom house for like $500 a month.
And does that include a view? Like the $500 a month, do you get like a view?
Yeah, I've got a pretty nice view at my place.
Just by
candles. I look out my front door. I got like the palm trees and Mount Tapachau on the back row. It reminds me of the opening of Apocalypse Now. It's kind of cool. All you need is
you can see clear across the island.
Yeah, but I'm looking at my utility bill here and just trying to see what the kilowatt hour.
I think it's like 15 cents a kilowatt hour is typical in New Hampshire.
See, and you say that's high. I believe you. I'm pleasantly surprised with my electric bill. Like, I'm okay with how much we pay.
Okay, all right. What is your electric bill? What do you pay in the house there?
The best part is sometimes the meter readers don't even actually like read your meter, and then they quote guess, and it's like I live in an apartment, and it's like the landlord is the one who pays the water, but my bill had like $1,000 for water for 1 month, and I went down there and I'm like, so what happened? And they, the meter reader didn't see it because the meter was covered by typhoon debris from like a year ago. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm confident in people. You're not much good to me alive, are you?
Can you roll it back like a shady mechanic with an odometer? If it's been a year.
You could do all sorts of stuff. I mean, there were some people that got caught, like they have these beach pavilions, where they have like electric hooked up for, people who go there and they plug their radio in. And there were like a couple of people who were like plugging into that and running cords across the street, and like they got busted for doing that for like months.
Wow.
There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on out
So
here.
what were you calling about? I know it wasn't to talk about power rates.
Well, actually, I called about you were talking about masks last time, and I guess I ran out of time, and I just wanted to let you know about an experiment that I conducted I work in an environmental company, and one of the things we do is we measure the atmosphere for confined spaces and landfill gas monitoring, that kind of thing. So I took our air monitor that we use for that kind of work, and I put a mask on my face, and I took readings. And I just wanted to share my findings of this scientific experiment. Okay, now just to preface this, the OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, has specific levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen that are safe for human occupancy.
Okay, like in a home or something?
The permissible exposure limit for carbon dioxide is 5,000 parts per million, or 0.5%, and then the safe oxygen level is between 19.5% to 23%.
Okay, so what'd you find out?
So when I put the mask on, my CO2 levels under the mask were at 5.7%, or 57,000 parts per million.
So like 10 times as much?
Yep, and then the oxygen levels were between 16 and 14%.
And so you were measuring inside between your mask and your where were you taking the measurement from?
Well, what it was is we got this little tube that goes to the gas meter, and the gas meter pumps the atmosphere through the tube. What I did is I simply put the mask on my face, and then I ran the tube into my mask, under my mask, between my nose and my mouth, and I just breathe normally.
Very scientific.
Within 20 seconds, and within the 20 seconds, the alarm went off on the device saying this is an unsafe atmosphere.
Unsafe.
So,
that's interesting. I mean, whether it's scientific or not, I don't know, but it's certainly interesting, and it's what you would expect to see, right? Like that's not going out on a limb to say, well, if you've got a mask over your face, you're probably going to be breathing in more of the things you're not supposed to.
But if it was deadly, you'd see masked people passing out and dying all over the place from carbon dioxide poisoning.
Well, it's not happening all over the place, but it may have some sort of negative effect over time.
Yeah, well, deadly levels are more like 15% CO2. But here's an interesting fact. So, like, OSHA regulations say that if your employer requires you to wear a respirator of any kind for more than 40 days a year, you have to go and you have to get medically certified, and they have to test your lung volumes and see if you can handle the wearing of a respirator, because it's harder to breathe. Now, I normally use like a full face respirator if I handle hazardous materials and whatnot. But and I've had the medical testing and stuff like that. But what I'm looking at is, so you go into a restaurant, the boss is requiring you to wear an N95 mask, and N95 mask, according to OSHA, is a respirator. So where's the person's medical certification?
Who knows what kind of effect this is going to have on people in the long term?
Dave, thank you so much for the call. I don't expect it to have much of a long-term effect because, I mean, they say COVID particles are small enough to go through the holes in masks, which is true. I mean, the spit particles aren't the ones that actually contain COVID, but CO2
so it just
molecules
stays on the mask then.
In theory, as long as people don't touch it. But CO2 molecules are definitely small enough to go through the cloth holes in masks. 855-450-FREE.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum.